Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to KHM Today, your weekly resource for industry news and straight up fun. I'm your host, Carolyn Orphan. Today is December 18th, 2024. I hope you are all getting ready for this jam-packed holiday season. It is a busy and crazy time in my household, and I'm sure it is for you guys as well. So we hope you'll hang in for the next 30 minutes or so while we have a little bit of fun. So just a couple of updates. We're changing the format in 2025, and we're going to give you a sneak peek of that today with Annie Yu from our marketing team and Amy Garner from our engagement team. But I want to share with you all, please tune in to and watch for some emails about host agency reviews. Their host week is in January, and I just recorded my interview this morning. It was a lot of fun with their team. I met with Jacqueline from Asta, who was doing my interview, and so tune into that because I think it'll be a lot of fun. Let us know that you're here today. There we go. Sweet Exits Travel. Hello, Merry Christmas to you. We're excited for you guys to be here. Hello, Ashley. Great to see you. It's just going to be a fabulous day. All right. You guys, did you know it's our 186th episode? Yep. And I couldn't be more pleased to spend it with one of our longtime friends and partners. Please welcome to the show, Tresa Reed with Viking Cruises. Hello, Tresa.
Well, hi, Carolyn. How are you today?
I'm great. Now, I'm just going
So,
to give you a huge compliment because you work so hard, you travel a ton, and we have actually claimed some of your vacation time for this show. So, thank you for always giving your all and being here for our last show of the year.
I'm so excited. You saved the best to last.
Exactly, exactly. So, you have been such a good friend to the show for years now. What does vacation really look like to you besides doctor's appointments?
Staycation is kind of nice, really,
Yeah,
because I'm not home very long, but
yeah.
I do like to go and lay on the beach. I like to go through some big cities. I just got back from New York last weekend, so got like to stroll through the big cities
Mhm.
and see everything. I don't know. It just depends. I still have a lot of things on my bucket list, but I
Yeah,
have been a lot of places around the world.
that's awesome. I know sometimes we forget that staycation can actually be a vacation. So I'm glad you're taking that time for yourself this holiday season. Okay, so we've talked in the past of different sorts of travel that Viking we can get to on a Viking river cruise or a Viking ocean cruise and expedition. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about that cold weather travel because despite the fact that many of us are looking for destinations right now to book to get away from the cold, there's still a huge client population that is booking to go towards the cold. And so that can be in the form of a Christmas market right now in Europe, or it can be in the form of an exploration cruise or an expedition cruise to Antarctica. So let's talk about the Christmas markets first because people are coming back from them and just loving it.
They are, it's such a popular time and it's such a short window. It's between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And this year it was even shorter because Thanksgiving was a week later. So we really, it's been jam packed. And I just talked to a lot of people just coming back and they had the best time. They had the best weather and really got to stroll through the streets and all the stalls and trying all that food. I mean, it made me hungry and I've heard a lot of the cities back here in the United States are putting the little stalls up. And even when I was in New York, it's all coming around and it's so
Mhm.
festive and the lights and it sparkle all over the place. It's just amazing. The
What do you think
the
it is about
interest.
it? I think this a lot of times I think of this as like a one and done, right? I've done it and then I'm good. But this has become a repeat,
I think it's a
uh,
tradition. It's the
right?
tradition that's coming back. And the people like that have the opportunity to go and see all these little cities and see how they bring the culture out and
Yeah.
all their foods and all their treats and even their little ornaments and jewelry. And I mean, it's just so fun to see how these countries have always celebrated the holidays and the singing. Oh my gosh, the singing and all of the people coming out, the families. It's just a festive time. And I think people like that, and it gets them in the mood to come back home to have
Right.
their holidays.
I think one of the special things I've seen through pictures, because I have not done this yet myself, it's a goal, is the different takes and the creativity behind the nativity. And you think, how much creativity can you have behind the nativity? But you'd be surprised as you move through each town and get their take on it, whether it be out of marble or stone or wood. It's really kind of magnificent how everyone pulls their local artisans, and you can buy a nativity in one town and it can look completely different from another.
That's true. And even the churches and the museums, they all have their festive, holiday, things out. And it's fun no matter what your interest is. The Christmas market's it's a fun, joyful time that everybody's happy. So
I think river cruising in the wintertime too, it's kind of got a cozy feel to it. We love it because you've got that when it's nice out, you're on the top deck and you can be watching the scenery, but there's also something to be said, to have that hot cup of something cozied up in your room, but with the blinds totally open and the curtains totally open and just watching the scenery go by. There's something to be said about like how that lowers your either stress level, anxiety level, but just takes you down a notch.
It really does. And then the things we have on board, I mean, they'll have gingerbread making, and then people can decorate the cookies and enjoy those. And everybody gets to take home an ornament with Viking, and they get to write on it or draw on it or whatever they want and decorate an ornament. So even on board, it's festive, but getting off and seeing the destination is what it's all about too.
So really on any Viking ship during this time of the year, it's pretty festive. So let's switch gears a little bit to, the colder weather destinations, Iceland, Antarctica. I mean, these are really blowing up and they're really easy to sell, in my opinion, because it's just it's a great way to see a lot in a short amount of time.
It sure is. And, even the Quiet Med on the ocean ships have been very popular. And then for the Christmas markets in Europe, we're now in January and February. The Christmas markets wouldn't be there, but guests were asking us, they wanted to cruise in January and February. And then you mentioned Antarctica. My goodness, those ships are selling out. We have 2 ships that hold 378 guests, and the people are coming back saying it's their favorite. And they're loving the experiences of the expedition. It's not for everybody. So you have to be ready to go, and you have to realize that you're on an expedition ship where they're putting weather balloons out. And, we do have zodiacs and submarines on board. So there's a lot of adventure and activity involved in the expedition. And people have that on their bucket list. They're like, I've never done that. I want to do it. And I'm going to do it with Viking on one of their ships.
This is a hard question. So if you can't answer it, then we're going to come back to it. You might have to think about it. But I oftentimes think of Antarctica as kind of being that I've done it. Now what? Do you have a now what at Viking when they've done that, which to me is that's like the cherry on top?
It really is. But, now we have the Arctic to go see the polar bears. So that is another one. And then a lot of the guests have not been to Iceland and Greenland. And those have really opened up with the ocean ships. So right now, sometimes people are going on to Antarctica first because they know they don't want to wait, because they want to experience all of the activities that are, brings in. So, yeah, I think we keep adding itineraries.
I know from my own client experience, wow, once they get on Viking Ocean in particular, that's not to say the expedition or the river don't have the same, but from my personal experience, once they get on Viking Ocean, they keep doing it. They keep doing it, and they are happy, happy campers.
They really are. And I just feel grateful to have all of four of these products to actually promote. And the other one is the Mississippi. At Christmas time, all of those southern homes decorate. And I actually got to experience that a few years ago. And it is really a fun place to go right here in the United States on our Mississippi ship.
So that's something that I feel like we oftentimes forget. As I know I do as an agent. When you said that, I was like, oh, wait, that's right. We forget that. So we should probably be putting that back on our list for those that have done a lot, but maybe not a lot in the US.
Yes, and sometimes it might be, hey, they're done traveling overseas. They still have their, they want to go, they want to meet people. They just want it easy. And the Mississippi is slow moving, fun, and you really get to see things that we thought we knew about the United States, and we don't. There's so many little nick and cranny little towns along the way, and it's so fun, and you keep learning and meeting new people as you travel.
Oh, we love it.
So I think that's what's so fun.
We can't wait to see you in 2025. I know you're at a lot of our events this coming year, so we're very excited about that. But before I let you go, one very important question. Is there one food that you just absolutely have to indulge in during the holiday season?
Well, my favorite thing is the almond croissant. I know it sounds crazy, but it's powdered sugar with almonds on it, and they have an almond filling. And usually I can only get that in the Parisian bakeries. But that I want every year. That's probably one of my favorite things. I mean, of course, my mom's food and her whole Christmas meal and, New Year's Eve. There's a lot of little things that come along, but my sister's a great baker, so she bakes all these little, I gained 10 pounds during that because I'm eating all of these delicious bakery, and I don't have time to do it. I love to bake, I love to cook, and I really don't even have the time to do it. So tonight I am going to actually make Christmas cookies with two of the neighbor girls. So
Wonderful.
yeah, they're 16 and 10, and they want me to make them with them every year. So that's going to be my fun today. Yeah.
That is what my children are doing this evening too. So thank you so much for your continued partnership. We absolutely adore you, and we will see you a lot in 2025.
Great. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah and happy holidays. Okay. Bye-bye.
Oh, you guys. You knew about Dee. I can't wait to see your pictures. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, I haven't been on a ship yet, but I'm looking forward to it. One of these days, right? I was just telling Tresa before, I've got one more. You guys know this. He's going off to college. It's going well. He's going somewhere. We've gotten into numerous schools. So life is going to change quite a bit in 2025 for me. All right, you guys. So in 2025, we're bringing KHM Today to our agent level. We're going to have different groups of agents on each week to talk about fun topics, and they may or may not know what I'm going to ask them ahead of time. It's going to be things about the industry, their business, what's going on in the world, without getting too crazy, the travel world. But I thought it would be really fun to have two of my favorite people from KHM on the show for our last show of the year. Please welcome Annie and Amy. Where are they? There we are. Wait, you guys are wearing glasses. I'm going to put my glasses on as well, but I won't be able to actually see through them because
the cool kids are doing it.
The cool kids are doing it, but in order to actually see you guys, I have to tilt my head up because they're
that might impact the cool factor.
Someone decided at the eye doctor that I was ready for what are those called, progressives, but I can't use them. I can't see anything actually right now, but that's okay. All right, you guys, are you ready to kind of just like speak off the cuff? Because you really have no idea what I'm going to ask you.
We'll see.
I don't think you have any idea how we're going to respond. So are you ready?
That's the bigger question. Okay. So I was doing a little research the other day, and US World Report has this best of list, right? And it's best destination, best hotel, best this. What do you think of best of lists?
Well, I think, all right, I'll take this one. It's so funny you mentioned that because for our very first episode of Travel Stories Unpacked in 2025, which is going to be out January 3rd, mark your calendars, we actually do talk about a list, but it's a list of places not to visit in 2025. Yeah, so it's mostly because of like environmental factors, like, you know, Hawaii pops up. I think Fiji's on there. So there's definitely it's really interesting that we did not talk about this, Carolyn and I. So, but a best of list. I think it's everything subjective.
Yeah,
because travel is subjective, so it really depends on what it is.
I want you guys to go in and look at this list because it's interesting, but I just kept scrolling. And to be honest, I kept scrolling and I never got to the end of the list. So I'm like, is every destination on the list? They've just put them in an order of what they think is best? Because literally I just kept doing this. So I was like, is this really the best of, or is this just a list of every destination?
Well, that's why it seemed like it was easier to compile a list of things, places not to visit.
Right. So, Amy, what do you think? Do you hold a lot of stock in that best of list?
No, definitely not. I think everybody has their own travel styles, their own interests, and there's no list that's going to encapsulate what you want to do. It's just like when someone asks me, okay, what's the best hotel in this city? It's impossible. You have to tell me what makes it the best to you.
Right. I think that sometimes I'll use them as a starting point, right? What's hot in 2025? But then that's kind of where it stops. Because I don't take it much further than that unless there's something really, really interesting on there that a client's actually interested in. You know, sometimes people are just not interested in the new necessarily. They're interested in the comfortable. And quite frankly, I'm okay with that because that's what helps. That keeps my business rolling, the comfortable, not necessarily new.
Well, when I was listening to you and Tresa talking about Antarctica, I was getting a little jealous. Not gonna lie, I was getting actually really jealous.
Yeah.
Because that's been on my bucket list for a long time, and I've always believed in a previous life I was a winter seafaring Viking, swinging a sledgehammer around. I even have a Viking tattoo, but I think it's really cool that we're seeing a rise in these more adventurous types of vacations. Some people it is a vacation. To me, it's a vacation. Maybe not to you, Carolyn.
No, I do. I think it is. And but here's the thing, like when I deem it a trip versus a vacation is when I have to like really like pour my heart into executing. And so a vacation, like when I think about that sort of trip, I think, oh my gosh, yes, I've booked it. Yes, I have to do a certain amount of work. But once I'm there, someone else is going to help me execute. Therefore, it becomes a vacation. If I had to do like all the executing in Antarctica on my own, that is no longer a vacation. That's a trip. And that has a certain element of exhaustion to me that whereby it still might be fun. I don't know if I put it into the vacation category. And it's funny because people are commenting and I can't see the chat because these glasses.
I love it.
Let's see. Hello everyone. Irene. Hello, Maureen. Oceana and Jane are in the Mediterranean. That's pretty cool. I think Yvette's on there. Hey, Yvette.
Ashley's growing. Yep. Mine
too. I love it. Well, Annie, we can go to Antarctica together because my husband has said he is uninterested in crossing the Drake Passage. So I'm looking for an Antarctica buddy.
I've heard about this Drake Passage. And I really want to experience it at its worst. And I'm also like in the middle. I do. I'm also in the middle of a major like deadliest catch binge right now. I know that's the Bering Sea, but I watch on like 10-foot, 15-foot waves. How bad could that really be? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you guys mentioned Iceland. And a couple of years ago, my friends and I were in Iceland. We did a whale watching tour. So we're out in the water at like 7, 8 a.m. Then the waves are so bad. They were saying like 10, 15 footers. I'm like, that's awesome. It's the three of us plus like, I don't know, 20 other people that were on the whale watching boat tour. Within 10 minutes, everyone's puking. Except me. I'm hanging out on the upper deck because they're puking over the rail and I don't want to be under them. So I'm the only person up top.
That's where the green apples come in. Well, I will say that I've had some colleagues do the Drake Passage, and they've basically said it's like childbirth, right? It is so awful when you're in it, but once you get through it, you're like, ah, there's the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. And so, it's well worth it. But then you realize and you forget what just happened because you see all the beauty. But then you realize you have to go back. Oh no, not again. But that's kind of what it is. But the Drake Shake is a real thing, and it's something that you absolutely have to talk to your clients about and make sure they're prepared for that, because it cannot be great. I'm looking at D here. Yes, you know what, Sam?
Antarctica, Sam, let's go.
Sam would never.
Yeah. Sam
I think
can't.
Sam would straight up just perish on that if she went through the Drake Shake.
Okay.
No, I've always loved being on boats, so I'm like, let's go, Antarctica fam, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Here we go. Let's see if we can make that happen. All right, you guys. So here's another one for you. The travel world has designated 2 new destinations this past year. I bet you can't think of where did 2 new places come up. Oh yes, they are called Beyonce and Taylor. Okay, so 2 new destinations. So Amy, I know you contributed to Taylor Country twice.
Twice.
What do you think about this trend? And do you think that others may try to jump on board? Can they jump on board? And who do you think would be the most successful at it?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I know. Isn't this
I don't know
fun?
if you actually knew this about me, guys, but before I became a photographer and videographer, I used to be a music business major.
Oh.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Don't just
So
go.
we talk about touring often because back then, a musician or artist could make a lot of money from CDs, because if they want to listen to one song, you have to buy the whole album. That does not exist anymore. So really the only way musicians now can make money is through touring. But even then, unless you are Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Madonna, Elton John, you're not really making money from touring either. So the fact that they can go on these 2-year-long tours that gross $2 billion and contribute to local economy, I think is great. Do I love either Beyonce or Taylor Swift? Not particularly. But I think that's really cool, and that they're employing a ton of jobs and really turning where they're going into a destination.
It's true.
Yep.
Did you see she gifted $197 million in bonuses
I
at
saw.
the end of the Eras tour?
Yeah.
Yep.
But no, that's
amazing.
great.
It's amazing.
It's just incredible how, I mean, when you think about the hotels, the food, the transportation, like everything that happens in those cities and how that economy is boosted. Do you think, and I feel like the before this was residencies in Las Vegas, right? Like that I feel was step 1. This is like step 2. Do you feel like there's anyone that you feel like could like
take it to that level again?
Like, yeah. I mean, is there anyone that you can think of that you're like, oh, they have the potential?
I mean, it's like I said, it's not like back in the day where if you wanted to be a successful musician, you moved to Nashville or LA and hopefully get signed. Now, anyone can be discovered on YouTube or TikTok. So it's not really the traditional path to that level of stardom anymore. So I think when I think of the next superstar that can really pull that kind of thing off, it's going to be someone who, is half my age. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, gosh, that's hard to think, because you still have like your Rolling Stones and your, is Billy Joel still around?
They do well. Yeah, I just saw Billy Joel this summer. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you still have those like classic acts that are always going to do well. But just a few weeks ago, a buddy of mine went to see Creed. Who the original band that was everything. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Creed played at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, I believe, and it was sold out. And I'm like, how many 50-year-olds and 40-year-olds were there? And was the concert over by 9 p.m.?
He said, like, nothing wrong with that. I am totally fine with the early bird concert that starts at, I don't know, 4:35.
Exactly. I want some matinee shows, but he said it was sold out. It's amazing that these guys can still rock it the way they do, original members and everything. And yeah, I totally had Human Clay album, great album. My Sacrifice is a classic, but I think it's cool that even now, like, these bands from back then are still doing really well touring. Like I said, touring is really where the money is at these days. But fortunately, it can't all be like Lady Gaga was bankrupt after her Monsters Ball tour because that was her first major tour. But she knew, like, she believed in herself and poured a bunch of her own money into it, and it was a huge success. But she didn't make $1 from it until her next tour.
Yeah, I think One Direction would have had potential.
Yeah. But I think it's the reunion tours that are making money now. The Backstreet Boys, the New Kids on the Block. Let me tell you, if Spice Girls ever get back together, I will be the first one to buy a ticket. I don't care where, how much it's going to cost. Like, you talk about One Direction breaking up, ruining a lot of lives. No. If you didn't live through when Ginger left Spice Girls, you don't know jack about it. I don't want to hear about it.
I love it. I actually just saw Spice Girls stuff on my newsfeed.
Dee just said she's well over 50 and she stays up until midnight.
Oh, Dee, my knees can never. I am knocked out by 10.
One more for you. In 2025, right? It's just around the corner, which just seems so crazy to me. What are you looking forward to when it comes to the industry and our role in it?
Oh, I'm looking forward to Destination Success this year. I feel like that event is the future for travel agents, of really having this complete control over our education and what we value. It's going to be so creative and dynamic. And I feel like that's where we're headed. And it's really, I don't know. I'm excited about that one.
And we're going to be at the new hotel for that one.
We are. And, Amy, to speak to that a little bit, I think, there's so much in this industry that's out of our control, but if we can control our learning, I feel like that's one thing we can do. And that's what this event is going to allow agents to do, is control their learning, what they're interested in, and even expose them to things that they haven't been exposed to, in the hopes that, it grows in their knowledge and their interest and something different for their clients. So yeah, yes. And the new location is just beautiful. It really is. It really is. Okay, Annie, what about you?
Well, within KHM, of course, I'm going to say Crystal, just because I know everything that's kind of happening behind the scenes already. And you guys are not ready for what we're going to hit you with. It's going to be amazing. And this will only be my third Crystal. So I'm really excited to see how this comes to fruition, being on land versus cruise. But like I said, it's only my third Crystal. And of course, I'm looking forward to DS as well. But the travel industry as a whole, I just keep thinking, like, there's just no way we're going to beat last year. There's just no way. How is this happening? And usually by April, May, it's like I'm proven wrong. And one of the few times I'm happy to be proven wrong. I'm just like, my mind is just always blown at watching, the agents and their success. And, if they're happy where they are, then that's great. Of course, not everyone wants the same level of success, but it's just so cool to see everyone learning, and I'm following everyone that's attended boot camp and DS. You know what I mean? It's just super cool.
You're not a booking agent.
I'm not.
What is it? I mean, is it kind of weird? What is the word I'm looking for? What is it like to kind of watch that, not knowing what it's like to be in those shoes? Does that make sense? Like, what is it from that perspective?
My perspective is, holy cow, my hat off to you guys, because I never knew that there was this much learning, continuing learning, I should say, because we all know, well, now I know how quick and often the industry changes, how much travel agents put into their businesses, whether it's, doing FAMs or attending education events. Like, it's always something that you can be doing. And I appreciate that, because I always like to be learning something too, but like, holy cow, you guys take it to a whole new level.
Well, and I think that, I'm just so appreciative of our teams for the willingness to be creative and think outside of the box. And, Annie, that's kind of part of the job of your team is to be creative. But there's also a sense of fear in that when things are switched up and we get a little crazy and it's
You
just
mean
always
that's when we asked you to do the zip line in a cocktail dress?
yeah, exactly. I'm up for anything. You guys know that. But it's so fun to be able to work with people that aren't afraid of risk, and regardless of the payoff. Annie, I want to give you an opportunity because you have some really fun things coming up in 2025. You're the new co-host of Travel Stories Unpacked. Those episodes are going to drop opposite of KHM Today. So KHM Today is not going to be every week next year. And so will you tell us a little bit about that and why you decided to take on that challenge? Although it's really not a challenge next to Ashley. It's an easy conversation.
Yeah. I mean, Ashley and I have always just had really good chemistry as far as talking about things. And I've always thought in the back of my head, like, we make a pretty funny podcast. We'd have to censor ourselves a little bit. But I am also the producer, so I do get to see the bits that get cut, and they're good. I'll think about putting them out one day. But so Amy's actually been on the show as well, where Amy came out and talked about Disney adults. So we do kind of talk about, our tagline is all things travel from the silly to the serious, and it's true. We do cover a lot of aspects about travel, the travel industry from various perspectives. But mostly it's just about what's happening in the travel world. We want to get your opinion on it. I mentioned earlier that our first episode drops on January 3rd on Fridays. KHM Today is still on Wednesdays. And it's about where not to go in 2025. So if that gives you an idea of kind of the things we talk about, it's a little bit more, like you said, Carolyn, not hot topic, but I will say it's usually things that Carolyn can't say on her show. So, and we'll leave it at that. But no, it's gonna be great. Of course, even though I'm still the new co-host, we still want to hear from everybody else. So you can drop a comment on our YouTube channel. You can email us directly at travelstoriesunpacked@gmail.com if you have a story that you want to share. Of course, let us know if you want to remain anonymous or not. And I always say the more juicier, the better, the more outrageous, the better. And I am absolutely encouraging bad behavior. You know what I mean? I say the things that Carolyn can't say. So
I can't say that. We can just laugh a lot on this show, right? And wear costumes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we're really looking forward to that. I think you two are a hoot, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Amy, as you look at 2025, you're now a full-time employee at KHM with the sole focus of, creating touch points with advisors. What are you looking forward to?
I think I'm looking forward to doing the Monday lives now. I've been in the comments with Bill all the time on Fridays, but starting January 6th, the Monday Facebook lives will be my new terrain. I'm excited about maybe getting to spill some secrets for once instead of being the one yelling about spilling the secrets in the comments.
But you're telling me now potentially agents can get at least one of us every week.
It's true.
Boy.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
one of the three.
I know,
of us.
right? Watch out.
It's gonna be fun, but I'm excited about that. And then of course the level up webinars and CRM webinars and all those things that are happening are just, it's awesome to see how much agents have embraced that stuff.
Yeah. As I mentioned at the top of the show, I did an interview this morning with Host Agency Reviews, and the first question was, what are you looking forward to for your network this year? And I started talking, and I wanted to put a timer on because I felt like I was talking very fast because I was giving a rundown of all of the events and who they're for and why, the purpose behind them. I felt like I was talking forever. But when I think about what we've got going in 2025 and the intention and how special each one is, like, I don't get exhausted from that. I actually get really rejuvenated by it. So I'm very, very excited for 2025 and for everyone to just participate at whatever level they can, whether it's in person or streaming. Just participate. If you don't participate, you don't feel that same sort of connection. So you guys, thank you very much. I got to go to a cut and color now.
Hey.
I need my glasses fixed, my stripe, my
That's not the new year off on a good foot, Carolyn. Get your eyesight checked, get your hair done.
It's a whole afternoon of personal care, which we also encourage here at KHM, personal wellness. But you guys, thank you so much. I absolutely adore you. Have a wonderful holiday season. Spend some good time with your family. Annie, I know yours is in town, but I appreciate you both so much. And I can't wait for 2025.
Yes.
You're going to be on the show.
We'll see how this goes. Let's try not to get canceled before February.
Right.
All right. Thanks, Carolyn.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope you enjoyed visiting with Tresa and also the new format. We're going to keep kind of chatting about different things, travel related, and also just some fun stuff. But I wish each and every one of you a wonderful holiday season. I think we'll see you back here on, I think it's January 8th or 9th. But please take care of yourselves, be safe, be healthy, and happy selling. The year's not over yet. Take care, everyone.